Hi, I'm Pete Waddingham. Thank you for joining me today at the Carbon Edge. It's an opportunity for me to speak to real people who are helping UK businesses on their journey to net zero. As someone who's spent a lot of years in the health service, I'm delighted to be joined by Dr. Christian, a GP and clinical lead and co-chair of a GP support unit, who's going to talk today about the Energy Cooperative, an organisation that is founded helping primary care and other businesses on their journey to save money. This is an organisation that's gone from 7 GP practices to over 400 electricity meters being monitored, creating energy savings for UK businesses of around 20%. Christian, delighted for you to join me today. Really looking forward to hearing your story. As I said, I'm always really impressed by clinicians who grab the bull by the horns and are looking to try and help the journey towards net zero, but probably some of the reasons that you might have set this up originally is looking at financial savings, which we know are massively important to primary care. So please tell us a little bit about what do you do, and importantly, why did you decide to set up the Energy Cooperative?
Thank you, Pete. Delighted to be joining you. It was really an accidental discovery, and I'll get into that. And I also have to, I need to confess something because I didn't really know much about net zero and the commitment that we as NHS and the wider spectrum we have actually, and we won't meet that, but I'll get to that later. So my background, I'm a GP in the southwest of England. I have been for many years, managing business partner. I also work as a clinical director and got some other roles. But that really, when our energy contracts came to an end at the wrong time, that's when really we had a light bulb moment and thought, well, we wonder what would happen if we create a buying group or if we pool together some other GP surgeries. I had this privilege of, as a clinical director, to have good contacts. We work quite well together, and 7 out of the 10 GP surgeries in our PCN, we said, okay, let's explore that. We did our due diligence because you don't want to go to any energy broker really. But basically what happened is that we saved 28% on our energy costs, which paid enough to, or the equivalent of employing 2 more full-time pharmacists. I made friends quite quickly with the other practices. And from then on, it really snowballed. So initially, our passion, we work in primary care, that's where our passion is, healthcare. And so we focused on that. But then we thought, well, why not expand further? Because the larger we get, the stronger the buying power, the cheaper for each member, really. And the other thing which was quite key is that we offer all of this for free. There's no commitment, there's no subscription, there's no fee that is paid to us. And for transparency, we're very open with that. Any kind of contract that gets signed, we get a small commission fee for our overheads, and we're very open about that. Yes, so that's it really in a nutshell.
Just to go back to a little bit more about your story then and your background. Again, some of the challenges in primary care. We know that primary care is massively under strain. We know that financial pressures within the NHS have always been the case and probably really relevant at this moment in time. We know we've got soaring energy costs. So just again, tell me a little bit about this kind of discovery and why you did what you did.
So GP surgeries are independent contractors as such. And so we are responsible for our own funding streams that we get allocated. And primary care GP surgeries in the UK have been underfunded. I won't go into politics because that's not the platform for that, but there is not enough funding. So we as clinicians or as business owners, we need to find ways to generate income streams or save money. This is exactly what is happening with the Energy Co-op, that we are saving funds for primary care through cheaper energy prices, kilowatt hour reduction, if you like.
Makes a lot of sense, that coming together. And I think that's probably been my frustration over the years working amongst the NHS and within the NHS. It is a very fragmented system, unfortunately. We have that phrase of a national health service, but the reality is, and and I know, and probably many people know, that it's a series of individual organisations and institutions. And I think bringing them all together the way that you've done makes a lot of sense. I guess, what kind of pressures are on the ground for clinicians or practice managers to even want to look at this? How do we help them take that step forward to think, actually, being part of this cooperative, this energy co-op, is good, it's not going to be too stressful? What are the sort of steps that people need to take and what are the benefits that they might see, hopefully fairly quickly?
Yeah, practice managers, business managers, GP partners, we are all too busy. We are stretched beyond what we should be stretched at. So taking some of that pressure off by looking at renewal quotes, doing the account management, streamlining processes and make it as simple and streamlined as possible. That was one of the objectives that we really set up after the initial pilot phase, if you like. So we take that away. Across the country, every 1, 2, 3 years, renewals are due, both for insurances, for utilities, you name it. We don't have to do it thousands of times. We can all just take that away from someone and make their job a little bit easier.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, I always like to compare things to my own personal life. And I think, we live in that world where, you have to go and sort of navigate and negotiate your phone contract, your energy contract. So sometimes that support and that collective bargaining power makes a lot of sense, really. And I just wonder, when you saw the impact, is that what gave you the light bulb moment of thinking, actually, we need to do this on a bigger scale? And
the simple things in life, or the simple discoveries are quite often the most impactful. And that was one of the things I was thinking, why has no one done that? I know there's other buying groups, across other services or supplies. And so we thought, well, why don't we want to do that? Why don't we try that? And you've got a direct, tangible impact. You see that on your next energy bill. You see directly what it is. But not just that, it's also the kind of security. When in the past we had these energy providers going bust and other things. Again, that was an impact for me for sustainability purposes. We want something that GPs or primary care can fall back to. We want to give them as much security as we can. So that was another.
That's a really important point, that sort of contingency planning. Like you said, the last thing you want when you're delivering frontline services is an energy issue. If the power's not on, that causes significant problems. As I say, it does make a lot of sense, bringing people together to collectively buy that energy and to get those savings. But I just want to kind of flip it a little bit to, how can being part of the energy co-op help change behavior in a practice? Does it allow them to think about how they're using their energy in the day-to-day, or is there just not the time to do that?
No, good question. And lots. The answer is there's lots we can do. So, and that's where my confession comes in, because we started initially on the financial sustainability pillar. We thought, okay, this needs to be. That's how we got our light bulb moment. Then the second pillar, what we have been establishing, and again, that's free of charge, but there is an AI-backed data monitoring system that we install, again, free of charge. I want to emphasize that because it's quite an expensive system, but we use some of the funds we commissioned for funding that, so we can actually implement that. Reason being that it changes behavior, reduces energy usage, and it's just the right thing for the environment. Once we install this data, this gives us a very alive platform that feeds back data. And there's a couple of examples from our own surgery, actually, when we first installed it 18 months ago. The partners directors, we have electric cars. We arrive in the morning at whatever, 7:30, plug the cars in, and off we go, mind our own day. We've got solar panels on the roof. Those solar panels will not start producing enough energy until mid to late morning, by which time some of us go on home visits, unplug the car. So it was just the wrong timing. By purely identifying that and changing the timings when we plug in the cars, when we charge the cars, and when we take them out again, we were able to harness the electricity that our own photovoltaic solar panels produce much better in-house. Another example, one of the other PCN surgeries, we installed the system there. They identified that in their porta cabins, which they used occasionally only as an overspill clinical room, their storage heaters remained on, and they didn't realize that.
Lovely. So effectively, then, what we've got the energy co-op is a way for businesses to directly come together to create energy savings. But as you said, you've also got the ability to look at data and add intelligent metering systems into practice to help change that behavior and to help them think about how best to optimize their energy usage throughout the day and night. I guess that it feels a fairly useful offer for primary care. What might people be a little bit worried about in terms of this offer? Do they think it's too good to be true? What might people struggle a little bit with?
Yes. I think the fact that it is all free of charge is often seen as there must be something wrong here, but there generally isn't. It's very easy. There's no hidden fees. There's everything is very transparent from the beginning. And once you sign on the dotted line a contract with an energy supplier, you know exactly what you're signing for. There's no other comeback thereafter. That's probably the most common comment we get. What is the catch? And the only catch is really to get in touch with us. And again, we simplify that as much as we can on our website, the energycoop.co.uk. There's a very, very simple get in touch form. We keep that as simple as possible, and our team will then get in touch quite quickly and instruct. The process then is also very simple. It just needs a couple of forms or an authorization form, and then we can provide some quotation and take it from there.
Excellent. And I suppose in terms of financial savings, again, if we go back to that area and net zero, the energy that's being produced, being able to come together with more economies of scale, as I said, how much of this energy will be renewable from UK sources?
Yeah, that again, we can individualize it for each client. We of course we encourage to have a as high renewable percentage as possible, but our packages can be 50%, 75, 100%. So we it's completely whatever fits the customer.
Excellent. So if someone wants to onboard with the Energy Co-op, as you said, there's a website, there's a contact form there. You'll take them through the process, sign them up to the contract of the energy, help them think about the behaviors that they can take to monitor their energy through the use of this data. And I guess, as always, when you enter into a contractual relationship with any provider of any service, there's always that kind of feeling of, what might be the kind of get out clauses. But the other side of that is how much of this can the headache be taken away so that practice managers and clinicians can just think, do you know what, my energy is sorted. I'm getting good savings. I've got a good, reliable energy provider. And as I said, we can also look at how to reduce our energy costs and to keep contributing to that net zero journey. So, yeah, just tell me a little bit more about that. How, when I enter into that contract, what the kind of longevity is.
So again, it depends entirely on your preference. So some clients want just 1 year contract. Others are happy with 2 or 3 year contract. The important thing is really that the account management happens in the UK. So the team is based in the UK. I didn't mention at the beginning, we partnered with a big energy consultant company, one of the top 5 in the country. We did our due diligence because we want to make sure that governance, all of these aspects are covered. So we need this. We are kind of putting our name to it as reliable primary care physicians, if you like. So we wanted to make sure that is catered for, and there's some safety.
What are the risks then for primary care if they don't look at this topic? If they just keep staying with their same provider, what are the risks then of not doing something?
I mean, I don't know the specifics, but when one of our contracts comes to an end at home, how likely are we that we spend an hour or two researching, compare the market or whatever, one of these alternative platforms? I think lots of providers, when it comes to contracts, they rely on clients renewing automatically and paying the extra premium. Whereas if you're onto it, or if you know someone who does it for you, you know that you get a better rate. That's number one. Number two, and I don't think primary care is quite aware of that yet, is that net zero commitment. The net zero commitment is massive. And again, I wasn't aware of that, how big it is, but by 2040 or by 2035, we should be there by 80%. If you are able to put this intelligent data monitoring system, if you install that counts towards this already. You start saving, you start using less energy, and you're on the right track for that.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a big topic is energy security. And as I say, we've seen some of those vulnerabilities on a global scale fairly recently. As you said, data is massively important as well. I think about my own home system, and the sun is not quite shining today fully. We've had some glorious sunshine these last few weeks. But it's a nice feeling, as you said, to change your behavior based on how much energy is either being generated on site, if you've got that ability to do that, or if you haven't, just knowing what you're spending and where you can make those incremental changes.
Yes.
Having things, like you say, charged up at certain times of the day make absolute sense. I mean, sorry.
Just coming in, I've got a brilliant example for that. One of our, I think it was the first private hospital that joined our initiative. They saved roughly £40,000 in cheaper energy prices. They saved, or they expected to save, another 50 to 60,000 through the smart monitoring. Not just that, they also then looked at, okay, now we've got the monitoring system. Which area is it that we should attack first, if you like, and optimize? So they've installed some solar panels. We've also got funding for and can help with that. But they also changed lighting in their operating theatre. So the surgeons were happier because they got better lighting. The finance director was happier because there were more cost savings. And that's just a really nice example how everything gets tied in, how we can help with that whole process and generate wins for everyone.
Yeah. And do you know what? That's a really nice kind of way of looking at it. And this is why I'm really interested to talk to people like yourself, because there is a journey and there is that supportive element. And I feel for the NHS and the frontline staff. I mean, I've been using service recently with a family member. It's very, very busy on the front line. People have got many, many tasks to do. And again, if we can help take away some form of headache,
Yes.
or that generates real savings, that helps them on that net zero journey and just helps navigate it, then it feels like an offer that's worthy of acceptance. So we know how people can get in touch with you through the Energy Co-op website. I'll put some details in the chat.
Thank you.
I guess the other thing to kind of just focus on before we finally close is, we're obviously talking about primary care today. Clearly, there's other businesses that you can help and support. But actually, if we look at primary care, do we think there is more opportunity with this customer base to help them on their energy savings? Do you get a sense from that, from the relationships that you've got within primary care, that this is something that is needed?
Yes. Absolutely. And we were invited to present at a digital conference recently, Rewired 25. And my challenge to the audience was really, guys, we've got this data here. We are collecting data. What else is there that we can use this data for? There's lots, from a management system point of view. And I don't know what the data can be used for, but there definitely is other areas that we can look at and optimize. And as you say, we need to help primary care. We are not restricted to just primary care or healthcare. We are open to others. So we've got from hairdressers to accountants, charities, private hospital, I mentioned care homes. There's no restrictions. The larger the buying group gets, the better and the more win for everyone.
Excellent. Well, as I said, thank you for your time today. I really do appreciate it, and it always amazes me when you see frontline clinicians, as I said, able to not only deliver good clinical care, but to look at some of these operational management issues. And great work. I'm really keen to find out more about the Energy Co-op. I'm going to check out your work on your website. I hope people do contact you. As you said, it's a free service. They're not under any obligation. It's not going to cost them anything if they do sign up. I do feel as though those kind of benefits are worthy of exploring. Yeah, Christian, thank you for joining me today, and good luck with your journey. And I hope that you continue to help primary care save money and help them reduce their energy and optimize their energy, and most importantly, on that journey towards net zero. So thank you for your time, Christian.
Okay, Pete.
Yeah, so that was Dr. Christian from the Energy Cooperative. Really enjoyed that chat. As I said, I always really do enjoy speaking to frontline clinicians that are also trying to juggle multiple agendas and help the NHS on its journey to net zero. As Dr. Christian said, financial pressures within primary care and the NHS are real, and so coming together collectively to try and buy that energy and generate savings feels like a really good, sensible approach. As we also discussed in the episode today, having that intelligent monitoring is absolutely fundamentally key. And it's really good to hear how he's gone from only 7 electricity monitors being monitored and gathering that data to over 400. It shows really good growth. And I hope other businesses, whether you be in primary care or other sectors within social care, care homes, and as Dr. Christine said, these customers at the moment are everyone from various providers across the NHS, within the primary care sector, within the community sector, pharmacists. So yeah, really decent offer. And all it really requires for you to do is to go onto that website, energycoop.co.uk. That's energycoop.co.uk. Just fill in that form, speak to a member of staff. It really won't take much of your time at all. And hopefully those financial savings can be generated for you. Some of that burden and that pressure of looking at your renewal contracts taken off your hands, and hopefully just give you that little bit of security. And as I said, there is lots of support and wraparound support with that offer to help you on your journey to net zero, start looking at your energy use. So hopefully you enjoyed that discussion. If you'd like to come and join me and talk about some of the work that you're doing to help businesses in the UK on their journey to net zero, I'd love to hear from you. Please do get in touch, and hopefully check out other episodes that are on the way. Thank you.